we've not just been on top of that big breaking news of N. Chandrasekaran taking charge at Bombay House, but we've also been on top of the views that we get from you. From insiders who joined us first to people who matter, and now we've got a power-packed panel to analyze that threadbare and to answer those questions. We have people like Vineet Nayar, former Vice Chairman and CEO of HCL Technologies, S.Mahalingam, who's worked with Chandrasekaran, S. Sivasankaran, a Tata aide, Suhel Seth, somebody again who has a lot of insight into the Tata group. We've also got Mr. V.R. Mehta of Tata Trust. So plenty of people here, right here on ET Now, joining us with their take and their analysis of this big development. Sandeep, it's over to you to take things off.
Thanks for that, Supriya. Let me start off with Mr. Sivasankaran. We don't want to spend too much time talking about N. Chandra and his, and his credentials as a leader, because I'm sure the entire panel believes he's an exemplary leader, and so do we. We've spent the large part of the last 4 hours analyzing that journey. We want to spend about 30-35 minutes talking about the road ahead and the challenges. But I'll give you one quick take from you. Let me get a quick take from my panel, and I'll start off with you on your assessment of the fact that was he the best choice given the circumstances, given the options? Was it the right thing to pick an insider? And if they had to pick an insider, is N. Chandra the best choice?
It's very simple. Whoever has to be the chairman, they have to attend 4 issues for Tata Group. One, they should think of customers. Second, they should think of profitability. Third, they should know how to handle competition, because India is a very complicated country, and internationally also the competition is very fierce. Then that gentleman should be able to focus, and he should have patience. In all the 4 counts, he gets 100 marks. So this is the best choice. In other words, I don't think that they have any more person to consider.
All right, so they don't have too many people to consider, but let's go to somebody who knows Chandra and who knows how he works. And Mr. S.Mahalingam, if I may pick your brains, what is it that N. Chandrasekaran has and will bring to the table the Tata Group needs right now? I mean, yes, he was spectacular at TCS and made a great success out of it, but I just want to pick your brains on what do you think he's going to carry forward at Bombay House as the chairman of Tata Sons, really?
He's a proven leader. He has taken TCS to great heights. We have all known about what he has done from 2007 when he took over as the chief operating officer to 2016 over this period. And even if I were to look at TCS itself, it's a multiple verticals and so on. And therefore, there is enough complexity as far as the company is concerned, which he has seen through and which he has led and which he has successfully managed. Tata Sons, of course, is much bigger from that point of view, and there are multiple areas. What I have found in him, having worked very closely with him, is that he is what I would call an integrated personality, person who looks at all kinds of things. He is extremely good at people management. He has built leaders in TCS, and that I think should come in very handy as he looks at the group. He is a person who can look at multiple things at the same time, and that he has demonstrated in TCS. Again, Tata Group is a desperate kind of business, so again, he'll do that. One of the things that is probably not appreciated as much is that he is financially extremely savvy. In fact, if I were to give credit to one of the things that he had done in TCS when I was working very closely with him was to improve the margin in TCS. And therefore, he focuses on numbers extremely well, which should be very good from an investor and stakeholder point of view. And he does all this, with a fairly calm mind. And he's not someone who gets stressed or irritated and so on. And therefore, these are the kinds of qualities. Having watched him very closely in TCS, I think that although there's going to be a learning job for him for some time in Tata Sons, I'm sure he'll do very well.
You know, as someone who's been a runner herself, I can tell you that running helps you inculcate those qualities. And I just saw that quote of N. Chandrasekaran did, saying that he wears his running shoes to sometimes rationalize his mind. But let's take this across to somebody. I mean, I know, Mr. Mahalingam, you've been an aide and you've worked with him very closely, but a competitor. And Vineet, Nayar, you've competed with TCS in the past. What do you think of Chandra as a leader? And particularly, what do you think of as a competitor there?
Within the IT industry, I think we are good friends. I think what is true with Chandra is he is very strategic in outlook, at the same time very granular and focus on here and now. He combines those two things extremely well. He talks less, does more. He has been able to motivate the TCS team to sing at a completely different rhythm and tune. Interestingly, he has believed in build rather than acquire, and we will see how that flows in the Tata culture. So there are, and he is a consulting, he comes from the consulting industry. IT is a consulting industry. So his ability to influence customers and therefore influence CEOs of the Tata Group would be quite interesting. I think he will succeed. I think he's a great leader. And given the fact that he brings a completely new dimension of thinking around digital, around consulting, around cost, I think he'll get along well. He will not lead the Tata Group because of his position. He will lead because of the value he brings to them, which is, I think, where you need to be as a leader. And I think he'll succeed.
That's an interesting insight coming in from someone who's competed with N. Chandra as well. Mr. V.R. Mehta, let's get the view of the trusts, because many would believe that this situation came about because of the view of the trusts on Cyrus Mistry. N. Chandrasekaran takes over the reins from 21st of February. Tell us, what are the expectations of Tata Sons' principal shareholder, that's Tata Trusts, from the new chairman?
Yes, I think Tata Trusts are mainly interested that the Tata Sons should be run well and professionally, so that the dividends payable to the trusts, which sustain the trust's philanthropic work, the major initiatives that we have undertaken, will be carried out well by Mr. Chandra.
Suhel, Seth, since we had you on the channel earlier speaking on N. Chandrasekaran, I'm going to pose the first tricky question to you, which is, will he get enough room to work the way he'd want to work? Or will he have to, work with the overhang of the old guard, as one would like to call? Cyrus Mistry called himself a lame duck chairman. Will N. Chandrasekaran also end up being a lame duck chairman? Will he get that free hand that he needs to steer the group forward?
You know, it almost seems to suggest that Cyrus Mistry's word is gospel. I mean, he may call himself a lame duck chairman, but it has a lot to do with lame and a lot to do with duck. Chandra is rooted in the Tata tradition. Ratan Tata walked out of the sunset into the boardroom to safeguard what he believed, and rightly so, the legacy of the House of Tata. In the consideration and therefore the appointment of N. Chandra, or his elevation as Chairman Tata Sons, I think there's a considered view that he epitomizes the beliefs that Mr. Tata and his predecessors who occupied the corner office in Bombay House believe, that it must be an imprint of ethics, values, and ethos, something which Chandra also mentioned in his remarks at the press conference. I don't use words like overhang. That's for media to use, and media which loves to sensationalize based on someone's, flagrant terminology. We've been brought up to believe rather than sensationalize. I think it's a great decision. It's a decision mired both in trust and meritocracy, and it's reflective of what Mr. Tata said on the evening of October 24, that he'd be there for 4 months. He's been there for much less. So it was not his return to power, not what some people allege, that he wanted to be the ghost in the corridors of Bombay House. He was the one who wrote to Cyrus saying, be your own man. I mean, you know, it's very easy in this country to pass comments, oh, but you know, Cyrus said that. I mean, Cyrus saying that is not the Bible. And Cyrus is perfectly entitled to his views. So is everyone else. To believe, therefore, that Chandra's elevation must be seen in the shadow of what Cyrus has alleged, to my mind, is equally silly. The fact that Chandra is a proven leader is well established. The fact that Tata trusts work for no one but the people is well established. The fact that the legacy of the Tatas is older than all of us put together, 138 years, is well established. Why do we decry the elevation of a man who deserves it? Why do we always see it in the shadow of something that we believe people have alleged? I think it's a great day for the House of Tata. I think Mr. Tata has proven yet again to be a man of his word and principled at that. And he said that, look, I don't want to be here, but I do want someone to carry that flame of truth, the torch of transparency. That's how we should see it. You know, we start reading too much. Actually, we become a nation of conspiracy theorists.
No.
We should calm down, take a chill pill, and then look at life.
All right, we're going to take a chill pill, but we're still going to ask that question because I don't think we're being conspiracy theorists here. There have been people out there, and you know, it's always tough, Suhel, and I'm going to pose that question to Mr. Sivasankaran. He runs his own business. Is it easy to be your own man when there are such influential minds and people around you? I mean, Ratan Tata is larger than life within the Tata Empire. He's almost haloed within the Tata Empire. I'm not decrying Chandrasekaran. I'm not even running down Ratan Tata. He's built the Tata Empire to where it is today. All I'm trying to say is, how easy will it be for N. Chandra to be his own man, to take his own decisions, to fail, to fall, to learn on his own? Mr. Siva.
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. Ratan Tata is a very easy man to deal. When I was actively engaged in Tata Group, I used to meet him in the mornings. He is a very good listener, and he will tell his problems, but when you convince him, when you make him to understand, he will appreciate your point of view. I am 100% sure that Chandra will be able to work very easily, and he is not going to be a lame duck like Cyrus Mistry, because Cyrus Mistry is a duck. In any case, the duck will say so many things, let us ignore. But let us see a new perspective. Today, by appointing Chandra, there are a lot of people are happy. Let me first say Cyrus should be extremely happy. He is owning, his family is owning 22% of the company or whatever the percentage. Now, if Cyrus would have continued as a chairman, he would have destroyed his own value. He would have shot in his own leg. Now, Chandra has come. Right now, the group is valued 116 billion. He will make, in the next 17 years, he spends to a $1 trillion group. So, Cyrus Mistry's equity will rise more than 50 times in the next 17 years, and he should be very happy. And also, people like me, who are the minority shareholders, will be very happy, because in the last 3 to 4 months, we lost about 38,000 crore. Okay, at least we will be happy that in future it won't happen. Ratan Tata should be happy because he finally found a guy. It was the fiasco which was done by Tata Group, first selecting Cyrus Mistry and making us to suffer for 4 years. Now all the shareholders can be happy, the employees can be happy. The only people who can be little unhappy can be media, because they are not going to get any new material to have this kind of conversation. Yeah. But
no,
one
we'll
thing
be a
let
part
me
of
tell
that
to
happily
the
ever
viewers
after,
also.
Mr. Shiva. Don't bother about that at all.
No,
we'll
you
be
will
a
get
part of
some
that
other
happily ever
company.
after, since everybody is going to be happy. We'll also be very happy that there is a very good chairman. I buy your point there,
Yes.
but I'm going to take
Okay.
this across
Then
to
I
Mr.
will
Vineet,
correct
Nayar
myself.
there.
Media
Vineet,
is also
yes,
happy.
I'll come back to you,
Okay.
Shiva. I'll come back to you. Yes, we're also
Yeah,
very happy.
thank you.
So join us. We're all joining the party this evening, aren't we? But Vineet, now let me come to you. Do you believe Chandra is ready? I mean, he's, yes, been the CEO of, you know, the most admired and the most valuable company in India, has led 3.7 lakh people in this country who are employees of TCS. But is he ready to take tough decisions of his own at Tata Sons? For example, you know, the tough calls of paring down debt, selling off assets that are not performing, fighting the bitter legal battle with Cyrus Mistry now. I mean, that's ensuing also in the background. Do you think he's ready to do all of this?
So I think a couple of things here. Number one is it is slippery slope in terms of what does he think and want to do with past decisions. I think there would be some conversation which the board would have had with him on places he can go and places he can't go, and therefore things he can do and things he can't do. But given the fact that he has been in the business of consulting for over 25 years, convincing customers to do stuff which they don't want to do, but it is in their interest, I believe that he is going to be more communicative, more convincing, think about others' point of view and take everybody along. I think that's the nature of IT services leaders, and I think Chandra is going to be no different. So I can't say, what are the stuff ahead, but I can tell you that if there is a leader who's competent and capable of taking everybody along and mend fences, I think it is Chandra.
Indeed, I do want to clarify to our panel and to our viewers as well that, we're only trying to provoke our panel. We've got a panel full of people who support the Tata Group, who've sort of backed this decision, and so do we. I think we at ET now are celebrating this decision. It's a fantastic decision, but it's just that we're trying to raise some pertinent questions on the road ahead. S.Mahalingam, you work very closely with N. Chandra as well. And I was speaking to a top CEO who said that the good thing about Chandra is that he will work his own way, and yet he will be able to manage equations very well with people in the Tata Group, whether it's people in the trust. He's got that skill to take people along and manage, whoever needs to be managed. Would you agree with that assessment? Do you think Chandra will be good at that? Will he, unlike Cyrus Mistry, who failed at doing that, failed at taking the trusts along, failed at taking Mr. Ratan Tata as an important stakeholder along? Do you think N. Chandra will be able to do that and yet carve a clear, role for himself as the leader of the group?
Yeah, in fact, it's one of his big strengths is taking everyone along. But doesn't mean that taking everyone along and being a consensus man and just making sure that you keep everyone happy. No, that's not the style with which he operates. For instance, in TCS, he has essentially been focused on the goals that we had set for ourselves and so on. So he's a person who would engage with people and convince everyone, would make sure that people assume the responsibilities that they are supposed to assume and so on. I can recollect a number of instances where initially we thought that some of the goals that we had set for ourselves were very high and that it is going to take a lot of trouble, difficulty in meeting them. Chandra has essentially managed to convince a lot of people that it is feasible to do that and take it along. So two things. One is there is a goal orientation. And the second thing is being able to take the people along. A quality, I think, which is going to be very sorely needed in the Tata Group, and he will provide that.
Right. Suhel, my provocative questions are for you because I think you can take them best. So, second one, is there a case to now revisit the governance structure at the group? Because, again, we'll have an instance where the chairman of the Tata Sons is not going to be the chairman of Tata Trusts. So, you'll have, obviously, Mr. Ratan Tata will continue to be the chairman of Tata Trusts and a separate person, which is N. Chandrasekaran, who's going to be the chairman of Tata Sons. Is that a good thing? And the influence of Tata Trusts, a lot of people raised questions, not just Cyrus Mistry, but a lot of people raised questions on the governance structure. Do you think there is a case to revisit the governance structure? TCS, for example, has got a very strong governance structure. Do you think there's a case to revisit, or do you think it should continue as is?
I think that's a great question. You might call it provocative, I call it informed. Very rarely are we asked informed questions, so give me some time. What was the purpose of Jamshedji Nasarwanji Tata starting business? You must read a book by Harris on the history of the Tatas. It was to give back to people. The Tata Trust's focus is to give back to people. The Tata operating company's business is to add value to shareholders. How will that happen? The Tata Trusts bank and depend on the dividend income from Tata Sons, which is a shareholder in Tata operating companies, of which the largest shareholder is Tata Trust. If you look at the equation, you will see there is interdependency. When you're interdependent, you are never ruthless. You're benign, at the same time you're firm as you need to be. Because the Tata Trust has a mandate, Tata Sons has a mandate, the operating companies have a mandate. To my mind, the Tata Sons mandate is to ensure the Tata code of conduct, the Tata ethos, the Tata ethics, the Tata value system. The business of the Tata Trusts is to ensure that the people, the lives, the communities they touch with enduring calmness and with purpose. I don't see any conflict. You know, we've had, if you go back into history, if you read famous historians, the separation of the church and the state came when you needed it to come. When a British emperor questioned the premise or the virtues of divorce versus marriage, you had the separation of the church and the state. So if it is required for the state and the church to be separated, so be it. I don't see any conflict. The underlying thing, and there I must say, is there a behavioral pattern which is in consonance with the values that the House of Tata subscribe to? That should be the only benchmark. It is not about ego. It's not about who. It's about how. It's not about who's running it. It's about how these people are running it. There, I believe, Chandra, with his association from 1987 to 2017, as he takes over on the 21st of Feb, Mr. Tata, for a long time, having served as the chairman of Tata Sons, continues to serve as the chairman of Tata Trust. There can be no better partnership. You see it as conflict. I see it as companionship. I see it as a great partnership that's about to begin. I don't see it as threat. I don't see it as conflict. I see it as a conciliation which will add value to both these entities, the Tata Sons and the operating companies, and the Tata Trusts and the communities and the people they serve. You know, for once, there's yet another revival of optimism and joy. So I see it, I've never seen a dark lining on a silver cloud. I've always seen a silver lining on a dark cloud, and I'm glad that January the 12th is yet another day. February 21 will mark the beginning of yet another partnership, another innings in Bombay House and in the House of Tata.
Indeed, it will. And Suhel, say, hold your thoughts there, because we're going to go back to the man who represents the Tata Trusts on our panel, and that's Mr. Mehta there. You know, Chandra in his press conference did say that the focus will be on creating shareholder value. Mr. Mehta, is that a big relief given the kind of acrimony that one has seen in the last 2 months between the Tata Group and Cyrus Mistry, and precisely some of those issues?
That's true. You see, this selection and his appointment, the selection was made in 2.5 months, even though initially they thought it might take up to 4 months. This also makes the intentions of Mr. Ratan Tata very clear, that he was not after the chair, as has been alleged by some people and some quarters, but he was only worried about the maintenance of the core values and the value system of the Tatas, which has been in existence for all this 125 years and more. Also, that it proves that Tata Group is having a corporate governance structure and which is very of high standards, and there should be no apprehensions about that. That will be a very comforting factor for the shareholders of Tatas, of all companies of Tatas, that they continue to be in good hands, and Tata Sons will be able to perform to its full potential.
All right, so I think Suhel Seth answered this in part, but Vineet Nayar, I want to take this to you one more time, because a lot of people are reading the appointment of N. Chandra as denting Mistry's claims that Ratan Tata or Tata Sons or Tata Trust wanted a yes man, somebody who will just do what they say, somebody who will be a part of the shadow boxing, because N. Chandra is known to be a man with his own mind. He's after all built India's most valuable company, the richest cash cow within the Tata group, the group's jewel crown, so to say, a very reputable brand there.
So I don't know what happened between the two of them, but the leadership study, which I do quite a lot, shows that when two people are of identical skills, they step on each other's toes quite a lot. When two people have different skills, in this case Ratan Tata's big vision thinking, long-term planning, manufacturing orientation, versus Chandra's granular strategic approach, build rather than buy, and digital transformation, are not identical skills, are different skills. I think the ability of people to step on each other's toe is less, and therefore this relationship, I believe, I'm a lot more positive about rather than the previous relationship. What happened in that, I don't know, and therefore, let the two of them figure out what happened.
I think we can go on debating on what happened. I think that we're not done with the debate. Yes, we probably need some representatives from the Mistry camp as well. Today we've got only people backing the Tata Group. Siva, I want to come to you on the need to revisit the governance structure. You made a point in ET now a couple of weeks back. You made a strong comment on how probably there could be some a need to look at a different sort of shareholding structure as well. Do you think any of that argument still holds, or do you think we should continue to have the same structure as there has been for all this while?
See, first we need to understand, according to me, making money is a karma. If Chandra is responsible for karma, trust is for dharma. There should be somebody should be responsible for dharma. And also, why you unnecessarily put pressure on Chandra's time to look at the trust also? See, if you look at India like Prime Minister and a President, there should be somebody, there should be two heads. According to me, the structure of the trust should be with somebody, and running the business has to be with somebody, and both has to work together like a double-barrel gun. My recommendation at that point of time was the trust should focus on getting a large amount of money and do what is their intention of doing dharma. See, the book that gentleman was mentioning, all it says that trust should take care of the people. To take care of the people, we need constant profitability or a large amount of money as a capital, which will give the return. So right now I am not thinking that this is better than the other one or other one better than this one. This is okay. The second problem is these people made a mistake 4 years back. We should not forget. That time I never rang up Mr. Ratan Tata and congratulated him for appointing Cyrus Mistry, but this evening I did call him in his mobile and congratulated him. Because basically you are taking a person who understands the culture of the Tata Group, who is a person with no inhibitions. He has done international business, and he gets along with people, and he creates leaders. So there is no issue. There is nothing to talk about. Rather, we should focus how Tata Group should become a trillion-dollar group, because that will help India, and that will help in India for so many investors and companies.
So Mahalingam,
okay with this structure.
Fair enough. Mr. Mahalingam, I have to ask you this, which is what about TCS? Fact of the matter is that, and I admit that TCS has built a great leadership pipeline over the years. Mr. Ramdurai groomed Mr. Chandrasekaran, and then now there is a good pipeline. But yet, it's not going to be easy to fill the shoes of N. Chandrasekaran in TCS as well. And let's not forget the fact that it is the most profitable company in the group, contributes a substantial part to the group's profits as well. How difficult is this transition going to be with now Rajesh Gopinathan taking over as the CEO?
I don't think the transition is going to be very traumatic because, if you really take the leadership at TCS, there are a number of what we call the industry vertical heads and so on. They've all been in the company for a long period of time. And I think one of the great things that Chandra had done was to essentially not only pick the right kind of people, but also empower them extremely well. And Rajesh has been working very closely with Chandra in the initial stages. And of course, thereafter, he worked closely with me as well. And he took over as the CFO from me. And he has been very close, very, very much aligned with the business growth of TCS. And therefore, he knows all the people. He has worked very closely with the leadership team that is there, who manage very many verticals and so on. He knows the business extremely well. NGS and Ganapati Subramaniam, who's taken over as the CEO, is another veteran. In fact, he joined TCS in 1981, and he has grown multiple businesses within TCS. So I think, if there is a quality in terms of working with known people, working together, these two put together bring that capability. Chandra has created an engine which works very, very efficiently. And I think this is the set of people who will not change that, who will not go for directional change or anything, and who will ensure that the same kind of momentum is continued, and who will also try and take it to the next inflection point as far as TCS is concerned. So I'm not concerned at all with the transition in TCS.
All right, but let's also get a view from former competitor and HCL Technologies, former vice chairman and CEO there. Vineet Nayar, do you think, in fact, what do you think will happen to TCS now? Chandra has bigger responsibilities that are entrusted to him. He obviously cannot be involved on a day-to-day basis, but as someone who's had a TCS DNA, he will perhaps be a lot more involved than Ratan Tata was, or for that matter, Cyrus Mistry was. TCS was just known to be, a shining spot in isolation. But what do you think now happens to India's most valuable technology company?
Then you don't know Chandra. Chandra is going to run TCS. My view, I'm so sorry. TCS, he is his love. He has built TCS. TCS run on his rhythm. And his continued involvement with TCS is good. He can run TCS sleeping.
All right, TCS is his blood and he can't get TCS out of him, even if you can take him out of TCS. But Suhel, Seth, we'll let you have the last word on this show then. It's been a fantastic discussion with all of you. But Suhel, I know we talked about this early on. It's a new man at the helm of affairs, a man who's obviously widely regarded as somebody who's performed, deserved, has delivered and got this job. Does this put the controversy and what came with it aside? Does this, at all, if there was an erosion of brand Tata, has that been restored?
I, for one, don't believe there was an erosion in brand Tata. There was a belief that there was an erosion in brand Tata. I think what brand Tata has shown repeatedly and again this evening when the announcement was made is that it's not just a conglomerate, it's a way of life. It's an institution which is admired, loved, cared for. There's emotional intelligence, there's rationality, and there's a deep sense of belonging. I think what Mr. Tata has done today and the board of Tata Sons, they've brought back the way the House of Tata is and was. For 4 years, perhaps, its DNA had slightly altered. It may not have been the house of Tata that Ratan Tata retired from, but today he can once again walk into the sunset knowing deep in his heart that it's in safe hands and that the legacy will endure on the same parameters that it began under Jamshedji Nasarwanji Tata.
All right, did the DNA alter in those 4 years is a debate in itself, but no one can dispute the fact that given the context that we are in, there couldn't have been a better appointment than what has been made by the group, which is of N. Chandrasekaran as a chairman of Tata Group. Suhel, Seth, Sivasankaran, S.Mahalingam, Mehta, Vineet, Nayar, thank you so much for taking time out, joining us late in the evening on what really is a historic day for corporate India, for Bombay House, and may I say, for this country as well, as this is one of India's most storied institutions, which has now got a professional man in charge, someone who's not a Parsi, not a shareholder, and yet on the sheer merit of his performance over the last couple of decades, has risen to the top of the Tata Group.
It's a huge honor and privilege to be appointed first to the board of Tata Sons and now to be chosen as the chairman of Tata Sons.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.